Welcome to Pirate Talk Radio. In this podcast, I discuss everything Sea of Thieves, from lore to PvP to even what fish you can catch for the hunter's call. Please sit back, relax, and join me on this adventure. Guys, and welcome back to Pirate Talk Radio. This is episode 41, and I am Davram, and still kind of slow on the seas right now. I know a lot of folks, from streamers to people on Twitter to people on Reddit to podcasters, etc., talking about kind of where we are right now. We've got a month left in season 3. So if you haven't completed your plunder pass, obviously you want to get that done. Obviously you also have until, I believe, right before season 4 or just into season 4 to get all your emissary ledger stuff done, the current set of emissary ledger items. So make sure you get in there and get your monthly ledgers up there. But right now, not too much going on. Now, there was talk last week that they were going to take the servers down for a day and release something. Hot fix patch, not quite sure what. They were just going to take it down for some sort of work, and it didn't go so well. They decided to not take it down, and they determined that whatever they were going to release was not ready yet. And I don't know. Though I appreciate the transparency, and though I do appreciate them coming forward and saying, hey, we want to do something here, and then quickly turning around and saying, it's not quite ready yet. I feel like before you make the first announcement that you're going to take the servers down, you should make sure something's kind of ready and not feeling like you're flying by the seat of your pants. But again, transparency is always good. And though I have no idea if it was a hot fix or whatever, but I feel like the transparency was there on Rare's part. I just feel like if you're going to take your servers down, right, which Sea of Thieves is always up, right, unless they're doing their monthly or, their monthly update or their seasonal update, the servers are always up. So having the servers go down, not quite sure why, right mid-season, I could only assume it's a hotfix. We've already got the plunder games. I assume we'll get at least one more event. I don't really want to consider the plunder games event because it really was not much of one at all, as I've talked about and other people have talked about. So I don't want to get too much into that, but I'm not quite sure what is coming next. We'll see, I guess, whenever it comes. But we've got 2 weeks left in August, and then we're into September, which is the last month of season 3. So hopefully we get another event. Hopefully it's original. Hopefully it's fun. We'll see. Right now, I'm not really high on the horse that is rare events. Sure, we got Pirate's Life, and most people are done with that. Well, I say most people. We're going to talk about some numbers that Davram did math, okay? And when we get to that, you'll see. Me doing math usually doesn't turn out well for me. But I did math. And so we'll get to that in a little bit. But to be quite frank, the events, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with the events too much this year. I haven't been impressed with the events pretty much since I've done them the first time and just seeing the same stuff over and over again. But we'll see. Again, I'm still hanging on to the hope from what they announced in their podcast a while back that season 3 and season 4, we're going to see huge changes to the events, and we're going to see new stuff. Well, they, knocked that ball right out of the park with Pirate's Life in season 3. So we obviously got something, brand new, shiny, and amazing to at least tide us over for a couple weeks of the, 2 to 3 month season. But we got something new. That was a promise kept. The Plunder Pass has changed. We're getting new cosmetics and stuff, so that promise was kept. The promise we haven't seen yet, though, now is world events. They said they were going to completely change the way they looked at world events, how they handled world events. Haven't seen that yet. So, and when I say world events, not only am I talking about Fleets, Flamehearts, Forts of Fortune, but also they mentioned the time limited events too. So we'll see where we go on that. I'm not high on the horse right now, but they have in a way kept their promises so far with that podcast and things. So we'll see what they do in season 4. I'm anxious to get to season 4. I know I still have a month to go. But I'm anxious to see if they continue to keep their promises, whether or not it's content that lasts for an entire season or keeps people entertained or interested in the game for that long. Either way, it'll be something new to talk about and something new to do. So we'll see when we get there. But the first thing I want to talk about today is a post I found on Reddit. You know me, I'm not a huge fan of Reddit, but I do peruse it every so often. It's a great place to find some interesting, sometimes hilarious stuff from the community. And this one I thought was very interesting and kind of relates to what we've talked about in a couple episodes here. And this is from Reddit user CM Cosmic. That's CMCOSMIC, CM Cosmic. And it's a picture, and what it is it's someone holding a cell phone, taking a picture of a nice looking lady who's sitting on a bench. But what you'll notice with the camera, if you look at this, the camera is zoomed in like very close to her face, so not showing off her nice gown, her shoes, her her hair, just really zoomed in on her face. And all around the camera and all around her says, "Ocean crawler spawn rates, hit reg, loading, tall tail bugs, more content, dot, dot, dot. Lighting glitches, banning racist players." The person holding the camera is, of course, listed as rare. And I thought this was a very interesting thing because if we look at their Twitter account over the course of, for a long time now, it's all Sea of Thieves screenshots. It's show us your favorite screenshot. Take a picture of your pet. Tell us what your favorite pet name is. Hey, do some videos about you and your crew doing the plunder games. It's all about show me these pictures, show me these videos. And that's great. And that's awesome to show off the beautiful art of the game. But it's not focusing on. It's like a distraction, right? Check out how pretty this game is. Check out how they have created this amazing way of showing the Olympics in Sea of Thieves. Check out this amazing rendition of Ghostbusters in Sea of Thieves for the movie Sea of Thieves screenshot. How did they do this and that? And it's amazing. It's great. It's a lot of positivity, which is not a bad thing. But what we're not seeing is Rare talking about how they're going to be addressing some of their biggest issues. We've talked about it in length. And so I feel like this picture really hit the nail on the head as far as Rare just zooming in on one aspect of the game. This beautiful lady's face, not showing off her pretty hair or her dress or her shoes or anything else like that. Just one aspect, real zoomed in on her face, and everything else is forgotten. Everything else is lost. But by God, that picture is really pretty. And I really think that shows a lot on their focus. Obviously, they've got Disney on their backs now. They've got the Pirates Life and the Disney partnership that's now been released. And there is definitely going to be a push to really show the game in a positive light in order to get more and more players to get in there. When Pirates Life was launched, when it hit us for season 3, we saw huge increases in numbers in Steam and Xbox. In fact, Sea of Thieves was for pretty much the entire month of July was in the top 5, if not the number 1 selling game on Steam. And that's huge. That's amazing. That's incredible. For a game which, in all honesty, I think is very underrated across the gaming industry. We have billboards at the Disney theme parks, telling people to go check out Sea of Thieves, where they can play with Jack Sparrow and fight Davy Jones and all that stuff. So yeah, we want to make sure we show off the positive aspects of the game. But on the flip side, we have to be honest with the new players. The game's not perfect. The game is far from perfect. And there are a lot of issues with the game which will take some of these new players and quickly turn them away. And I've got some numbers in order to show you just that in a few moments. But also we have to keep in mind that Rare has shown for a very long time that they are I guess the best way to say is a PR optimist. They throw out all this beautiful, smiley unicorns and sunshine public relations stuff. Unfortunately, it's not all what it's cracked up to be, and it's not all necessarily true. And that's going to lead into our next segment here in a minute, where I actually look at the numbers and we'll go over what I'm looking at and how I came up with these numbers. Because there's definitely some PR spin that we can see Rare's done for a long time. And I've talked to several people that play Sea of Thieves like I do. I've talked to several communities, and it really doesn't make sense to all of us that we're pushing all this positivity, but we're not coming to terms with the negativity. We're not coming to terms with the horrible exploits and bugs in this game, which will quickly turn players away. Now, all major titles out there at some point or another will have a nasty exploit or a nasty bug. The difference is these large scale developers usually fix them relatively quickly, or, a lot faster in the grand scheme of things as Rare. So I almost feel like with the development cycle that Rare has, are they even really focused on some of these stuff? Sure, they can put it in the patch notes that they're still focused on historic weapon accuracy, hit reg, that they're still focused on some of these bugs and some of these exploits, and maybe someday they will be fixed. But when we're talking about some of their biggest advocates of the game, Captain Falcor, for example, love his content. I think he does a great job showing off some of the most outstanding and fantastic pieces of the game, while also having some really good comedy about some of the players and Rare in themselves, but he does it in a really good way. And I mean, when he even says on his streams, like, seriously, why isn't this fixed yet? Or when someone asks him in question, hey, when's hit reg gonna be fixed? And he's like, someone somewhere between now and never. Like that, and that's really sad that one of your biggest content creators and one of your biggest advocates and someone who really does a good job at diving in deep into this game and showing off some of the brilliant artwork, the amazing story, and the crazy amount of speculation that you can do if you fall in love with this game with all of these things. He is a huge advocate of the game, but even he struggles to give answers for these outstanding questions that Rare has failed to answer us forever, right? Forever. Um, Now, there is some information, and I can't really get into details of it, but there is some information that I came across that is probably going to both irritate some veteran players, but it's also going to um, fulfill one of these long-standing bugs and exploits, and that's if it gets implemented into the game. But there is talk that there is a very long-standing bug or exploit that is currently in, I guess, a developmental stage. No, it's not hit reg. If you thought it was hit reg, it's not hit reg. That may come to the game very soon and kind of change some of the play styles of a lot of people. And it's obviously annoyed some people that have seen that it's probably coming sooner than later. But what a lot of these folks don't realize is that has been an exploit for a very long time. And again, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen or tested anything. But then again, I haven't been on the Insiders platform to test. I haven't been in the game a whole lot. I know it's not in the game right now, but I know a lot of folks who do the testing on Insiders and have noticed this change are really complaining about it, especially veteran players that do a lot of things in the arena and a lot of things like that. Well, guess what? This was an exploit, and seeing them fix something as major as this, well, yeah, it's good. It's good. Now, you may be annoyed because, you've just lived with an exploit for this long and it's just part of the game as you see it. But no, it's not part of the game. And we need to, if we're irritated about hit reg, which is obviously a problem in the game, then we need to be irritated about all bugs and exploits in the same fashion, regardless if it helps you it helps you have an advantage over someone else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've played this game for years and have just got used to certain exploits and you utilize them because you've just gotten good at it. And things that I'm talking about, and I'm not saying that these are the things they're targeting, but things like loot sprinting, the ability to drop loot, run, pick up loot, drop loot, run, that is an exploit. That is a bug slash exploit. And it's something that people have just gotten good at. And to them, it's a skill based thing. And it's something that gives them a competitive advantage because they've worked hard to learn how to do it and master it. It's still an exploit. So if Rare comes down the pipe one of these days and shuts down loot sprinting, guess what? You can't be mad about that. If you're mad at hit reg because it's an issue, you can't be mad if they are targeting exploits and fixing them. Now, you can be mad that you say that, well, that's not necessarily the exploit that you should be targeting. That's a fair statement, and you can back that up, obviously. But it is an exploit, and if Rare starts to fix some of these things, I'm going to cheer them on, and I don't care if they're fixing some minor ones or if they're fixing major ones like the hit registration issue. It doesn't matter. If they are working on and showing progress on fixing exploits, we should all take that as a good thing and don't be babies about it and complain, oh, well, now I can't loot sprint or now I can't X bucket. And that's not very fair because I've worked for years to perfect that and it gives me an advantage over. I don't really give a shit. If you want exploits and bugs to be fixed, then you need to understand that all exploits and bugs need to be fixed. Not just the ones you want, but all of them. And things like X bucketing or X reloading or loot sprinting or, those kind of things, those are things which do give people, especially veteran players, competitive advantage. Now, you may say, well, there is a skill base. Yeah, but it shouldn't have been there. It wasn't designed that way. Just like sword lunging. Dude, I don't think people understand that sword lunging, though it's now a very accepted piece of the game, that was not built into the game. It was not built to sword lunge the way we use sword lunges today. Yes, the sword lunge was, put into the game, but the ability to use it to fly across water like a freaking dolphin it wasn't built for that. It was not built for that at all. But it's something that's in there. Now, if they take that away, will there be a lot of people mad about it? Absolutely. But again, if we are really wanting Rare to put focus around these exploits and these bugs and get them resolved, then we have to understand that some of the things that we take for granted in this game that we've played and mastered over all these years, they could go away. But for me, as a lover of this game, if they're going to start targeting exploits and bugs and really showing us the players that they are going to put huge amount of efforts into fixing these things, then I am going to fist pump them. And if for some reason sword lunge flying through the water goes away, or loot sprinting goes away, or X cancel goes away, or hell, maybe in the future hit reg is much, much better, then guess what? I am more than happy that they are putting the effort and the resources behind this because I have been bitching for a long time about some of this stuff. And it's about time that they start putting focus around it. Now, again, of all those things that I listed, are any of these going to be fixed within the next month or two? Probably not. Are we going to see some changes to some of those things that I mentioned? We might. I do know some folks who are testing and insiders. I can say that some of those things are being looked at, and there are changes in the insiders build, and I can't talk about them. I haven't went in to test them anyways. But if you want to check those out, you can always sign up. It's free to sign up, and you just have to sign an NDA, which says you won't talk about it. And go test them out for yourself and see what type of impact they're making. But there's a lot of issues out there. I mean, hell, look on Twitter any day. Just, search for the topic Sea of Thieves and look at all the videos of the ridiculous and just I will say outstanding. It's not a positive way of, I guess outlandish is the best way to say it. outlandish bugs and exploits that you see posted on Twitter on any given day. Like, seriously, my forehead is red from face palming all these times. It's like, come on, you guys are better than this. You've created amazing, beautiful game. You can do better than this. You've had some of these things fixed. Why are they breaking down? But anyways, I thought that was a great picture from CM Cosmic, just showing again that PR focus of Rare, focusing on the beautiful face of this model, but ignoring everything else around it. Now, I think the picture would have been a lot better had the room she was sitting in or the chair she was sitting in just being absolute, just a garbage can of a room, or maybe what she's wearing was a garbage can of an outfit. I think it would have made more sense. But I think with all the text that has been put on this picture, this quote unquote meme, I think it really really sums things up a lot, and it even includes new things like the ocean crawler spawns and stuff like that, mermaid spawns. Because let me tell you what, I've watched some streams recently from people playing. The mermaid spawns are out of control. They are all over the place. You can be on a ship and have like 100 mermaids around you. It feels like shooting those orbs at you, but that's how it goes. So going from this screenshot and looking at this PR messaging that we get all the time. Here's your winners of the sales from the Sea of Thieves screenshot. Hey, check this cool picture out from the Plunder Games. Oh, check this keg haul. You know, all this positive media that the PR Sea of Thieves team puts out. I want to direct everyone's attention to seaofthieves.com. And time again, I hear high-end executives, Joe Neat, Mike Chapman, stuff like that, talking about their player base, right? And now you've heard me many times talk about the player base and wanting to see the numbers, the actual Xbox numbers. I want to see them. When I'm going to get to see them? Probably not. They're probably not as pretty as we think they are. They're higher than Steam numbers, of course, because of Game Pass, but it can't be that pretty. It can't be that pretty. And there's something that Xbox does release that you can see that at least gives you a little mindset into that number. Now, if you go to seaofthieves.com, there's a giant number on there, and it says 20 million players to date. And we hear that a lot from Joe Neat, talking about 20 million players, 20 million players, 20 million players, 20 million players. But is it really 20 million players? And of those 20 million players, how many are actually still playing? It doesn't say 20 million active players. It says 20 million players to date. That means 20 million players have logged in. 20 million, I'll take that back. 20 million accounts have logged in. For example, if we look at a streamer who I enjoy watching, an LD Silver, he has his main account, and then he's got several other accounts that he logs in to do different challenges, such as Pirate Legend challenges, hardcore mode challenges. Each of those are probably marked up as a different player on that 20 million mark, right? So how many alt accounts out there are counted into that 20 million? Well, we probably won't know, and those are all different accounts, so in retrospect, they are different players as it's seen in Rare statistics. But let's break it down in a different way. Steam and Xbox are, in a way, through this game, linked. If you get an achievement on Xbox, it'll sync to Steam. If you get the achievement in Steam, it will sync to Xbox. Now, everyone tells me, I've heard it from time and time again, including a Rare developer that I had the privilege of having a conversation with a few weeks ago. The Xbox numbers are much higher than Steam. Okay, that's cool. I can understand that. I can get that. But the achievement numbers are linked. So the achievement numbers are between both Steam and Xbox. Regardless of which platform you complete it on, if you look at the achievements in Xbox, you can see, what percentage you are compared to the players. So what I did was I took that 20 million players from their website and I did the maths. I went into the Xbox app and I looked at the achievement percentage, which says what percent of players have this achievement. Now, I want to start with a big one, right? A simple achievement. Have you eaten a banana? Okay? Banana, the most common food item in Sea of Thieves. The most common food item. In fact, I believe in the maiden voyage, the tutorial maiden voyage, you eat a banana. If you don't eat a banana there, well, you get a barrel of several bananas when you spawn on a ship. If not, there's barrels on the outpost. There's a good chance that if a player is playing the game, they have eaten a banana. Only 73% of players have ever eaten a banana. 73%. So 20 million players, that is 14.6 million of those players have eaten a banana. Which tells me there are 20 million players who've actually logged in or have created an account, maybe not even gotten past creating a pirate, maybe have not even gotten into the game. So the number probably isn't 20 million. Maybe 20 million downloads. Maybe 20 million have launched the game. But I would say 20 million players have not played the game because only 14.6 have eaten a banana. But let's look at a different number. How about actually set sail? Now, in the maiden voyage, to leave the maiden voyage, you have to set sail. If you skip the maiden voyage and you're just out in an outpost, you have to get in your boat and set sail. 20 million players have played this game, according to SeaOfThieves.com, but only 70% of the players have ever set sail. That is 14 million players. So in fact, 3% more players, 0.6 million players, 0.6 million players have eaten a banana, but have never actually set sail in this game. PR, public relations, big old fat number. But if you actually dive into it, it's really not that true. Now, let's look at another one. Now, I know this one is a little bit deceiving because the maiden voyage, if I remember right, it's been a long time since I actually did the maiden voyage as a fresh player. I probably should have created the 20 millionth and one account and logged into a different account. But only 25% of players, that's 5 million players, have completed the maiden voyage. Now, that's not completing all of the accommodations, all the journals and all that stuff for the maiden voyage. Actually completed the just the little storyline that the Pirate Lord takes you on in the maiden voyage. That's it. 5 million players. But 20 million have played. 20 million players. Only 5 million have actually completed the maiden voyage. Now, like I said, I think, if I remember right, you can skip the main voyage. So I understand that. I get that. So let's look at another one that I think is a little bit more, how many players have actually played this game? I would say, since some of the updates they have done, the ability to level, right? The ability to level in Sea of Thieves is way easier than it used to be. I don't think there's a single veteran player out there that'll disagree with that statement. It's much easier to play. Now, you've heard the statement, only 3% of players have actually hit Pirate Legend. Now, if you're a player like me, you really don't understand how any sort of player couldn't hit Pirate Legend within at least a year, maybe a couple months. I mean, heck, I went from level 50 to level 75 when they upped the cap on the thing. I did that. I did every trading company up to 75 and Athena 20 in the opening month that was available, right? So I know it can be done, but I also know that other people don't play that much. So I was like, is that true? Is 3% the actual factual number? And sure enough, in the Xbox, it is a 3%. So only 600,000 players of those 20 million players are Pirate Legend. So if you are a Pirate Legend, you are actually a very elite group of people, even though there's some Pirate Legend out there that you're kind of wondering how the hell they ever made it to Pirate Legend. But only 600,000 people have actually made Pirate Legend. But here's the more interesting one. Here's the more telling one. Anyone who's logged into Sea of Thieves and played this game for an hour understands that leveling up in a trading company is easy. Do one voyage and you'll get a couple levels. Of the 20 million players that SeaOfThieves.com reports has played this game, only 59% have actually gained one level in any of the trading companies. So of the 20 million players, only 11.8 million players, just slightly above half, have actually gained a single level in any of the trading companies. So I will state again, how many of those 20 million players actually played the game? How many of those 20 million players actually played the game for an hour? How many of those 20 million players just logged in and realized the maiden voyage, the tutorial, isn't that easy for a new person? It doesn't really guide you through a whole lot and just logged out. How many players logged in and either didn't have the maiden voyage or didn't know to select the maiden voyage and just went right into the game and had no idea what they were doing and just logged out and never touched the game again? Of the 20 million players that Sea of Thieves reports to date have played, only 59%, 11.8 million of those players, have gained a single level in any of the trading companies. Which, like I said, you'll probably be, if you go do a gold hoarder mission, you're probably going to be what, level 5, 6, maybe even 10 with one gold hoarder mission, maybe? I don't know. I haven't done it for a very long time. I've been max level since the month it came out. But just to think about that, like, I get it. When you're a gaming company, you really want to push those big numbers. But in the same regards, how true are your numbers? How true are they? So let's look at now the storyline, right? When you first log into this game, you spawn into the tavern. And inside every single tavern is the book to start the first tall tale, the Shroud Breaker, which arguably is the easiest of all the tall tales. So of those 20 million players, how many people have actually done the tall tale? Not all the accommodations, not all the journals, but how many have done just one completion of the Shroud Breaker? 13%. 13% of 20 million players is 2.6 million players have done the Shroud Breaker one time. Not all the journals, just completed it one time. And now, obviously, that's since the Shroud Breaker came in. It's not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people. And I know I've gotten nasty grams on Discord, and I've gotten nasty grams on Twitter, and I've gotten, low reviews on Apple Podcasts because people say, well, stop bashing the game about their player base and stop talking about the reused content and focus on the positive, pretty things that they have done. Well, guess what? No. I love this game. I love this game. I absolutely love this game. But time and time again, Rare has lied to us. And time again, Rare has distorted things to us. And I'm just now doing the math to prove it. If you love something, if you are really focused and you have passion behind something, you should definitely question things. You should definitely challenge things. You should not just accept everything the way it is and just say, well, this is it, and this is as good as it gets. You should never do that in any aspect of life. Video games are the place we go to relax and have fun and take a load off. We should definitely not expect it just to be, okay, well, this is as good as it gets. Like, we shouldn't ever do that. We should definitely criticize. We should definitely bring up points. We should definitely submit our feedback. We should definitely put pressure behind the company who runs the game in order to hopefully get change made so more players will come and stay. The critical piece is and stay. If these numbers don't tell you anything, it's that players come to this game for one reason or another and they don't stay. 13% of players have actually completed the Shroud Breaker. 13% of the 20 million players that SeaOfThieves.com reports that have played this game, only 13%, 2.6 million, have actually got through the first tall tale. Now, we just had the Pirate's Life. We were talking about the Pirate's Life. We've went through all the Pirate's Life. I've given my feedback about the Pirate's Life. I think it was a great update. No one's going to disagree that it brought in new players. Now, if you logged into the game once a Pirate Life started, there's actually a place with the Jack Sparrow Sea of Thieves skull that you can jump into the game at a Pirate's Life. Right there in front of Tiadama, right there in front of Calypso, and start the first tale. Now, it doesn't tell you how to vote on things, right? It doesn't tell you how to stick a sword in it. It doesn't tell you how to raise your capstan, drop your sail. It doesn't tell you any of that stuff. There's no tutorial in this game. So there are probably a lot of players who logged in and said, what the hell am I doing? And just logged out. Couldn't figure it out. Now you would think, because of the new players and because of how exciting a Pirate's Life is, you would assume that these numbers would be high. Pirates of the Caribbean, a Pirate's Life. 20 million players reported on SeaOfThieves.com. Of them, only 8.6% have completed the first Pirate's Life tale. I'm not talking 100%. I'm not talking journals. I'm not talking about gotten through it. Gone through the portal, went through the story, got the check mark. That's 1.7 million. Of the reported 20 million players, only 1.7 million players have actually completed the first Pirate's Life tale. Now, because of the hype and because of the excitement with Davy Jones and Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean and Disney, I would think that number, I would feel good if that number from Pirate's Life Tale 1, if we were around 7 to 8% on the last tale, I would say, yeah, this did a good job of keeping players. Why? Because that was the big thing, was the new Pirate's Life tale. That's what brought a whole bunch of players in. So if all the tales had the same number, the same percentage of completion, that means players really enjoyed it. Players didn't get discouraged. Players didn't stop playing. Now, again, it's only been out for a month and a half, and I understand that there are players that don't play it a whole lot. I get that. So we have to keep it in perspective, but I didn't expect to see this. 20 million players on SeaOfThieves.com. 2.14% of players have actually completed all 5 of the Pirate's Life tales. Not 100%, but just completing them once. 2.14%. 2.14%. It's right around 430K. It's right around 430K. So if I'm sitting here as a player and I'm wondering, when I look at SeaOfThieves.com, when I hear Joe Neat talking, when I hear Mike Chapman talking, when I hear this stuff, when I hear these conversations going on, and I hear 20 million players to date, I want to know how many are actually active players. How many players actually log in once a week? Of the active players, how many hours does each player spend per week playing this game? And I'm going to guess that number is going to be pretty low. because the pirate's life was the big thing. And only in a month and a half, when these tales aren't that complicated, only 430 players, or 430,000 players, have actually completed all 5. And you can't get to 2 before you do 1. You can't get to 3 before you do 2. They are gated that you have to complete the last one before you can go on to the next one. So, looking at the completion of Tall Tale 5 will tell you how many people have actually went through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 430K. Now that's a big number. 430,000 players. It's a lot. But it's no 20 million. It's no 20 million. And this was the big thing. This was the big thing. Now again, I question the way that this game has set up for new players to learn how to set sail. I question how this game is set up with the ability to go right into a pirate's life. Now, if you're a new character, there are pop-ups at the bottom that help you out and tell you what you do and how you vote for a voyage and this stuff. But how many players got frustrated because of the PvP? How many players got frustrated because of the PvE? How many players got frustrated because of a bug or an exploit? How many players got frustrated with just how this game is and had walked away and didn't give it a chance, right? Because they fell through the world, or a Meg was sailing above them, or just something weird and dumb, and they couldn't handle it. I can tell you right now, I took a veteran who took a break from the game through Tall Tale 1. There were definitely a lot of times where they weren't quite sure what to do, and there wasn't good direction. Now again, this is a sandbox game. You're supposed to adventure around and find things. But for a lot of players nowadays, I don't know how much adventuring around and finding things on your own is really up their alley. They want to kill things. They want to slash things. They want to blow things up. They want to shoot things. They want to kill players, or they want to, But I know I got a lot of angry messages, angry reviews on the podcast because I talk about not that the game is dying, but because there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of things that frustrate, especially newer players in this game. And I should focus on the positive. I don't want to focus on the positive. I would love to sit here and do a happy-go-lucky unicorns and rainbows and sunshine episode every time. I would love it. But my job, I feel, is to bring you the facts and bring you the information and interesting things that I have found in my research throughout the week. And especially in a time when the news is very low for this game because there's nothing going on and the content that they're bringing out is, well, lame, to say the least. The flounder games, as I've been calling them. No, no, we're not wishing for Little Mermaid and Ariel to come swimming around with Flounder and Sebastian. No, I'm not hoping for that. I'm not calling them the Flounder games because of Flounder from the Little Mermaid. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying was they floundered. They flopped up. They're dead fish. They were bad. They were horrible. And what we need to start looking at is the actual numbers that we have access to. We don't know how many active players are playing from Xbox, and that's just how it is. But we do get that wonderful percentage to tell us how amazing we are, to tell us how cool we are in completing different achievements in the Xbox. Well, you can take the 20 million players, which is the number Sea of Thieves wants you to look at, and then do basic math and find out if you completed what seems to be an easy achievement like eating a banana. Take that percentage times 20 million, and you find out how many players actually ate a banana. And I would say that's a pretty good judge of how many players actually played the game. It's not 20 million. How many players actually set sail? If you don't set sail, you're not playing this game. You can't really log in and just diddle around for hours in an outpost. If you do, I'm not sure what you're like. I wish I had your type of time. But if you're playing the game, you got to leave the outpost. You got to sail. It's a pirate game. It's a ship game. You got to set sail at some point. It's not 20 million that's actually set sail. And even now with the Pirate's Life stuff, 430,000 people have actually completed it all. 430,000 people. I expected that number to be closer to 1 million. It's not. 1.7 for just completing the first one, which tells me of the big increase of players and the big hype that was A Pirate's Life, players are not playing it. Players are not playing it. And when you're talking about games that are PvP oriented, which Sea of Thieves is, they're up against some pretty heavy competition. And competition that doesn't have as many bugs and things. Now, the competition doesn't offer an amazing storyline and beautiful artwork, right? They're round-based PvP games. But what they have to be aware of, and what Rare has to be aware of, is other gaming companies are working on things. I said in a previous episode that New World is going to be huge. New World is an open world. In all honesty, I won't say it's a complete sandbox, but it's an open world PvEVP game. And Amazon is taking their time to make sure it's cleaned up before it releases. But I'll tell you, if the beta was any indication, it's got a lot less of issues of Sea of Thieves, which is it's an IP that's been around for 3 years. And still the combat doesn't feel good in it. I know I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be playing Sea of Thieves because, like I said, I've built a pirate and I've met so many awesome people and friends on Sea of Thieves. I'm not going anywhere. Now, I'm going to be playing New World a lot, and that's just how it is because I think it looks like a fantastic game. But, I've got some time. I can play some video games, and I've kind of been in a video game drought recently. But I really think Rare needs to take a step back and look at how many players are actually playing on a weekly basis. How many hours per player on average are players actually playing your game? And more so, is it really 20 million players? Because your Xbox achievements, they don't really line up to that. And those players that, of those 20 million that don't really add up to this, why did they leave? Maybe think of that. And maybe old Davram here with his mathematics and his graphs, maybe I'm not as wrong as a lot of people want to think that I am when I talk about hemorrhaging players and things like that. Maybe I'm not as wrong as you think I am. But I do want to close this off with the same thing that my good friend Captain Logan closed his off with. What is the rarest Sea of Thieves Xbox achievement that you have? Now, I was a delinquent when I listened to his episode, and I didn't get the answer back to him until this morning. But my rarest achievement that I have achieved is hook, line, and sinker. Deliver at least one of every kind of fish to the hunter's call. Only 0.1% of players have achieved that. Now, I've got a couple that are 0.13, 0.14, but this was my lowest at 0.1% of players. And if you're curious how we do this math, for those of you who might not be, as cool as me, I'm really bad at math, but really cool as me, we take 20 million. That's a lot of zeros, by the way. That's 6 zeros, 7 zeros. I almost missed one there. 20,000,000. Right? 7 zeros and a 2. 20 million times 0.1. That's wrong. That would be 10%. Times 0.001. Yes, that would be correct. 20 million times. See, I told you I'm bad at math. 0.001. 20,000 players have actually completed that achievement. If, in fact, 20 million players have actually logged in, which is probably true, but 20 million players didn't actually play. So there you go. What is your rarest achievement? Hit me up. Hit me up. You can tweet at me at Davram TV on Twitter. You can, of course, join the Discord and leave me a message. It would be awesome if you left me a review. That would be cool. That would be really awesome. You can join our financial support crew at patreon.com/DavramTV. Or, here's something new for you. This is brand new, like hot off the presses. You can also email me at piratetalkradiopodcast@gmail.com. Ooh. piratetalkradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can email me there. You can send you your hate mail there, but I'll just delete it. That's fine. Or I'll read it and I will make fun of you on the next episode. If you want to send me a hate mail, that's fine too. I always look for haters I can make fun of. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. But yeah, Pirate Talk Radio podcast at gmail.com. And that means there is a YouTube out there now. Not my YouTube, not Davram TV on YouTube, but you can actually search out Pirate Talk Radio. And there's actually a YouTube dedicated directly to this podcast now in case you don't want to watch the rest of my crazy shit. And that's absolutely fine. So you can go check that out. YouTube.com. Search for Pirate Talk Radio. We don't have enough subscribers to actually make the name, but hopefully that'll change soon. Guys, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you the next time on Pirate Talk Radio.